Let's dive right into this explainer because we have a lot of ground to cover today. We are going to unpack how Google is fundamentally changing the very way we interact with computers. For decades, we've relied on manual, responsive tools. You click a button, the computer does a thing. You type a prompt, the chatbot gives you an answer. Simple, right? But what we're looking at today is a monumental leap. Google is shifting the entire paradigm of personal computing away from those manual tools to what they're calling agentic AI. It's a complete top-to-bottom ecosystem overhaul slated for 2026, and it's absolutely going to change how you work, how you learn, and how all your devices communicate with each other.
Now, there is a super bold claim circulating the tech world right now. Specifically, this came from the Next Web. Google killed the Chromebook. Its replacement turns your cursor into an AI agent. I mean, wow. After 15 years, the beloved budget-friendly Chromebook paradigm is officially being replaced. The company that literally invented the idea of a browser as an operating system has decided that, well, a web browser is just no longer enough. To truly harness the power of artificial intelligence, they realized they had to rethink the hardware and the software from the ground up, literally starting with the very cursor you use to navigate your screen. But to truly grasp the magnitude of this shift, we really need to define what agentic AI actually is. Up until recently, AI was mostly responsive. You asked a question, it gave you an answer. Easy. But agentic AI, that's the core engine moving us way past simple chatbots. It's an intelligence that autonomously plans, researches, and executes complex multi-step goals across completely different applications. It doesn't just sit there waiting for your exact step-by-step command. It proactively accomplishes entire workflows for you. It's all about dramatically reducing the friction between what you want to do and actually getting it done. All right, Section 1, the agentic AI era. Let's look at how this workflow plays out in the real world because it's pretty mind-blowing. Imagine you have a long grocery list saved in your Notes app. In the past, you know the drill. You'd open a delivery app and manually search for every single item. Now, you simply long press the power button while looking at that list on your screen. You ask Gemini to build a cart, and boom, the AI seamlessly executes the entire multi-step task across different apps, eventually setting up the delivery automatically. Or hey, you could point your camera at a travel brochure and just ask it to book a similar trip for 6 people. It handles all the messy logistics while you just sit back and watch the progress notifications rolling. Moving right along to Section 2, meet the Google Book. Because to run an OS built entirely around ambient intelligence, the old hardware paradigms just weren't going to cut it. The biggest change here is the transition from the somewhat fragmented Chrome OS to what's internally known as Aluminum OS. Chrome OS was a web-first approach, right? It ran Android apps, sure, but in these restricted containers that couldn't easily access your local files or utilize desktop windows properly. It was clunky. Aluminum OS changes the game completely. It is a fully native, desktop-optimized Android 17 system. It strips away all those previous compatibility barriers, which means your laptop and your phone now share the exact same native app ecosystem, with Gemini embedded right at the absolute core. And these new Google Book devices represent a massive step up in quality. They are built by premium OEM partners. We're talking Acer, Asus, Dell, Lenovo, and HP. They're clearly positioned to compete directly against Apple's highly anticipated $599 MacBook Neo, not to mention the new Snapdragon X Elite Windows machines. They boast some incredible features like full native Android app support and this awesome Cast My Apps feature that lets you instantly open any app from your phone right on your laptop screen. They even feature a physical LED glow bar embedded right in the keyboard deck that literally pulses to let you know when Gemini AI is actively processing tasks. How cool is that? But listen, replacing a mass market device introduces some serious market challenges. Google currently completely dominates the budget education market. I mean, Chromebooks serve something like 38 million students globally. Transitioning those users to a premium Google Book, yeah, that won't be easy. On top of that, they have to balance the incredibly high costs of running AI in the cloud versus processing it locally, right there on the device. And perhaps the biggest hurdle, they directly face upcoming European Commission DMA regulatory decisions that might actually force them to open up this tightly integrated Android ecosystem to rival AI assistants. So definitely some bumps in the road ahead.
Which brings us to Section 3, reinventing the cursor. Let's dive into what might honestly be the most consequential yet seemingly simple interface update of 2026. We have literally been using the exact same tilted arrow for 50 years, but DeepMind has finally decided to drag it kicking and screaming into the AI era. The contrast between the old and the new is stark. A traditional legacy mouse pointer is effectively just a dumb arrow. It only knows its location via basic X and Y coordinates so you can manually point and click. But the new DeepMind Magic Pointer, it actually understands what it's touching. It uses visual semantic context. So instead of just pointing and clicking, the Magic Pointer points and proactively reasons about the content underneath it. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, a simple wiggle of your mouse triggers the AI. You hover over a date in an email, and it instantly offers to schedule a meeting. You select a raw data table in Chrome, and it immediately suggests generating a pie chart. You can even point at two completely distinct images and have the AI composite them together right then and there. It treats the very pixels on your screen as actionable entities. It's anticipating your needs without you ever having to stop and type out a text prompt. Now, you might be wondering, what about your phone? Because this systemic intelligence isn't just restricted to high-end laptops. Oh no, the phone in your pocket is getting an equally massive upgrade to match this new agentic reality. Let's jump into Section 4, Upgrading to Android 17. Google's upcoming update brings this massive ecosystem overhaul right to your pocket, your smartwatch, and even your car's dashboard. Android 17 is just packed with highly functional upgrades. For creators, Screen Reactions lets you record yourself and your screens simultaneously, a total game changer. Aesthetically, we're getting redesigned 3D Notom emojis that add a really fun touch of physicality. And get this, there are completely impartial cross-platform sharing capabilities now, allowing you to quick share files to iOS devices seamlessly via cloud-generated QR codes. Plus, massive media updates are hitting Android Auto, including a slick Material 3 redesign and spatial sound with Dolby Atmos for supported vehicles.
But amidst all this high-speed AI, Android 17 also introduces a surprisingly human digital well-being feature called Pause Point. And I absolutely love this. Instead of just locking you out of an app or giving you an easily ignorable timer, Pause Point intentionally slows you down. It forces a 10-second digital breather before opening a targeted app, literally asking you on the screen, "Why am I here?" It's a brilliant little behavioral speed bump designed to break that subconscious habit of doom scrolling before you even fall into it.
Okay, Section 5, the real-world impact. Let's get down to business and dive into the practical reality of all these announcements. Look at this single staggering metric. 80% of organizations are already deploying AI agents in some form. 80%. This is fundamentally changing how software is built and how companies hire. We're actively moving away from traditional developer roles and shifting towards hiring agent supervisors. These are people who know how to decompose a complex problem and just let AI systems like Gemini handle the actual execution. Based on these reveals, business owners really need to take immediate action. If you're in charge of hardware, the arrival of Aluminum OS means you should probably pause your laptop purchases until these new devices drop in late May. Seriously, hold off. If you're in development, you need to adapt to agent-first coding tools like Antigravity and Joules, which can supposedly cut a 6-month rebuild down to under 2 months. And for marketers, the impending arrival of Veil 4 means preparing for high-fidelity, 30-second AI video generation that is going to drastically change the cost of ad creatives. And remember, this ecosystem will rapidly expand into the physical world too. Looking at the AI glasses rollout timeline, starting with the mid-year hardware reveals, we'll see the first consumer drops from Warby Parker and Samsung in late 2026. That's going to be followed by luxury partnerships with Gucci in 2027. And by 2028, these glasses are expected to drive mainstream local search. When users start walking around asking their glasses, "Hey, where's the best coffee near me?" it's going to demand a complete overhaul of local SEO and schema markup for businesses that want to stay visible. It's a whole new ballgame. But as we embrace this seamless, automated future, we really have to pause for a second. The Magic Pointer is incredible, absolutely. But to turn those pixels into actionable entities, the AI literally has to read all the pixels on your screen. Your private emails, your PDFs, your financial spreadsheets, everything. So if your AI cursor sees everything you point at to help you, who is really watching the AI?